Okay, so she was talking about a minute ago about the horse being really small in its history. Well, if we look at this animal right here, here's an animal that's about 12 to 15 inches in height. So you can see that the evolution of the horse has taken some really major turn of events and changed their size a lot, changed how their feet used to be. They used to have 4 toes. So they look totally different today than they did 50 million years ago. So how do they know that? I mean, who was here? Any of you here 50 million years ago? It kind of blows me away that they can figure it out, but horse evolution is one of the things that they really have done a lot of work on, and through fossils have been able to figure out what the horse kind of used to look like. And there are people that they spend their whole life studying fossils and studying the evolution of different things. So it's quite unique. So when Columbus arrived here, when did he first come here? 1492, he sailed the ocean blue, and then he came back on his second voyage in 1493. So when he first came here, there was no evidence of horses on North American continent. Which was is kind of surprising to a lot of people. So through the study of fossils and a lot of other things, they've been able to trace the history and evolution of the horse. So what happened to them? They know they were here thousands of years ago before Columbus got here. So what happened to them? That's the question. Something caused them to become extinct on our continent. And so there's no real answer to that. There's some theories, but not a distinct answer. So what do you think are some of the theories? Disease could have wiped them out. Exactly. What else?
Natural selection.
What?
Natural selection.
Yeah, dying off for, some unknown reason. Any other good reason? What?
Maybe people were, the reasons why they were food.
They were food? What'd you say?
Maybe people are the reasons why they got extinct.
Yeah, maybe something that the Indians did. But the most credible theory is that they ran across the Bering Strait when it was frozen and went to the other side, and then it melted and they didn't get back here. The place where Sarah Palin could see Russia from her back door, up there. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Spanish conquistadors brought horses to North America about 500 years ago. Fossils prove that ancient horses roamed what is now the Great Plains beginning about 58 million years ago. That's a long time ago. 58 million years ago. According to fossils and the nearest they could trace, they perished a few thousand years before Columbus arrived. The theories on why that happened could be disease, could be problems with parasites, could be climate change, just failure to adapt to the different climate. So any number of those, they're all theories. Just like we have the big debate now about global warming. Is it caused by man, or is it just a natural change in the climate that's going on?
What do you believe, Mr. Chairman?
What I believe doesn't really matter, but I'll tell you anyway. I believe that it is impossible for us to be here and not trash up the place, because I see people trashing up the place all the time. So our trash has to affect the environment. So consequently, just our presence here has to affect the climate. How much? You know, that's kind of debatable. I know that species die off all the time, and we're constantly finding new species. So we must affect the climate somehow. Is it enough to change the climate? I don't know. I'm not, you know, pretty much most smart scientists are all coming around to the fact that somehow we're affecting the environment here. And so everybody's trying to do a better job of thinking about and preserving the climate. Preserving the planet. When I go to the Azores to visit some of my relatives, I see that they do a better job of recycling and being fuel efficient and all those things because they have to. They live on little islands. And they don't have a big area to trash up. So, you know, people get pushed to do things when they realize that, you know, they have to live here for a long time and they want their kids to be able to live here as well. So I think we're getting more and more conscious about the climate. So another possible theory is that they migrated across the land bridge that once connected Alaska and Serbia, and that they just ran from one side to the other. So if we look at the ancestors of the modern day horse, it started with Eohippus. Then it went to Mesohippus, Versihippus, and Pliohippus. And these are going to be different stages in the evolution of the horse that we're going to look at. And I don't know if we'll get to it today, but I'll show you a little video on scientific portrayal of the development and evolution of the horse. So it's quite interesting the change you can make in an animal by selective pressure. In 1975, I was in college, and the biggest sheep we had
in the Suffolk breed was about a 34-inch tall ram. Now this is 2015, and last year at the North American in Louisville, they had a Suffolk ram that was like 42 or 43 inches tall, that weighed like 500 pounds. And that 34-inch ram weighed like 275 back in 1975. That's a huge change that they made in that animal, or that breed, in a matter of 35 years. So, Eohippus was a down horse. He was kind of a swamp dweller, an animal that looked like this. This is an artist's portrayal of what they think he looked like.
Looks like those things they have in South America.
And you notice that they had like 4 toes on the front feet. They had 3 toes behind. About 12 inches tall. They were swamp dwellers. They lived 58 million years ago. Mesohippus. Now getting a little bit bigger, starting to look a little bit more like a horse. They were 3-toed on all feet. They were adapted to browsing. They were eating off of branches and limbs. 24 inches tall. Mercyhippus, taking a little bit more form. This is happening over long, long periods of time. 3-toed, only the middle touched the ground. They were pony-sized. Adapted to prairie life. Pliohippus. Looking more like these Mercyhippus, Pliohippus, they look more like mules, don't they? First single-toed horse. So in the Mercyhippus, you could see that the pastern dew claw area had growths coming from there. In the next phase, they get a little more, looking a little more normal. don't have the growths off of the dew claws there as much. They're pony sized. They lived 12 million years ago. Again, they know that or estimate that from fossils. As we're seeing some of the polar ice cap melt and stuff, every once in a while, you see them find some new fossil discovered that tells them a little bit more about history. So, of the mammals that we use a lot present day, the horse was the last one to be domesticated. And you could kind of see that they were faster, probably a little bit harder to catch. Well, some of the early ones that we domesticated were like sheep and goats, dogs. Those were more docile animals that have more of a herding instinct, kind of stick together. How would domestication have happened? Somehow humans got smart enough to kind of corral them up. Who were some of the first horsemen?
Mongolians.
Mongolians? Persians in Iran, Central Asia, around 3000 BC. You see some of those Middle Eastern societies are some of the oldest societies on earth. Egyptians, came up with the calendar, developed a lot of irrigation systems.
Hey, can you go back to the last slide?
That one?
Yeah, thank you, real quick. Okay, thank you.
Egyptians had domesticated and used the wild ass donkey long before they were introduced to horses in 1680 BC, before Christ. 1680. Again, they know that through fossils, through some Egyptian writings. Egyptians were pretty good horse people, and they spread horses to other countries. They developed the chariot. That movie that's been playing on HBO, God and Moses or something, and they're chasing him. He's going to cross the sea. They're chasing him in the chariots. Did you see that? Then the Greeks obtained horses. They developed the snaffle bit, which was a big deal, still used today. And they developed the axiom, or the saying, no foot, no horse. Okay, we're gonna take a 10-minute break, and then we're gonna start lab, which is gonna be very short today, just enough to get us organized.